But you know what, man? Nothing was working for me. It just was not working for me at whatsoever. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. Like I said, the only thing on my compass was Rogan. Rogan was the lighthouse. At least I had that every 2 weeks. And don't get me wrong, I was putting my own little gigs together. But I was really, I was at the end of my fucking rope. I don't know what else I could do, you know, to win them the fuck over. I have no idea what to do. But while I was going on the road with Rogan at night, we would finish up on the road, and then we would go back to Joe's room, and we would dick around. And one night, Brian's like, let's just tape this, you know. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Taped it? I'm not. And we were taping it, and I started thinking, I'm like, listen, man, we're taping these things, and who's home on a fucking Friday night at midnight? 14-year-olds. We're basically talking to 14-year-olds. A lot of people don't remember this shit. You know, I was not into it at all. I would hang out up at the rooms. Me and Ari would go up there and hang out for a little while. And I just wasn't into this podcast thing. I wasn't buying into it. And then I remember getting a call from Brian one day that they weren't going to do that podcast anymore after the shows because some kid did DMT and his mother caught him. And he blamed it on listening to it on Rogan with us that night. And they actually called Rogan's manager. People forget about this shit. I don't forget about none of this shit. So I was turned off to podcasting. See what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm fucking saying? Some fucking kid was listening at midnight on fucking Friday night. Why are we getting together on a Friday night at midnight? People are out doing blow, eating ass, doing drugs, getting in trouble, eating pills. Fucking knuckleheads are home on a Friday night. Kids, you know, they're just kids. They're home. They got no money to go out. And you're going to fucking pop up on their screen and they're going to fucking, you know. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck I want to do. But on the other side of stand-up, like I was good. I was really fucking good at stand-up at this time. But guys, it just wasn't working. There's nothing you could do. Sometimes people fall between the holes, you know. I saw this whole thing happen, and it was so beautiful. And I want to tell you how it went down fucking step by step. So one of those nights, I went out to dinner with my wife. I don't know where the fuck we were. We were at some fucking restaurant, and it was busy. They had a couple of valets. It was a place in Encino. They had valets running. I forget the name of the restaurant, to be honest with you. Now I'm seeing it in my head. And one of the kids came over to me. You know, they usually have Mexican valets. This guy was a little Arab kid. Nice kid, sweet kid, came over to me. He's like, Joey, you don't know me. My girlfriend's a comic / whatever. She does a show on Thursday nights where you just tell stories. We don't want you to do no stand-up. There's no stand-up allowed. You have to go up there and tell a fucking story. And I'm like, really? This is weird. So I was struggling with my stand-up. I was a good stand-up. But there was something missing from my stand-up. It was the personalization of my stand-up. I was just doing one-liners there. I felt like Rodney Dangerfield. I was trying to copy Rodney. For a lot of people that say you not resemble, but your comedy, because I was trying to be Rodney for a long time. I was in the middle of Rodney, Andrew Dice Clay, Bill Hicks, Pryor. Those are the guys that affected me. Lenny Clark. I loved that style of comedy. Paul Mooney. But I wasn't catching what they were doing. The reason why they were successful, because they were connecting with the audience members. I was funny, but I wasn't connecting with the audience. Big fucking difference, and I want you to think about that. A lot of people don't even think about that. You have to make a connection with that audience. Funny is funny. People will laugh, and on the way out, they'll go, he was a funny guy, the second guy that went up before Rogan. But he's not making a connection like Rogan's making, like Greg Giraldo was making, like all these guys were making. So I went, and it was like a Thursday night, some bar. It wasn't even a bar, to be honest. It was a coffee shop. I'm trying to correct myself. It was a coffee shop that maybe sat 16. It was in the back of like a fucking restaurant. And I went, and I told a story. And I remember getting in the car afterward. Don't ask me what story I told. I think I told a story about maybe Mr. Martini or something like that. Like I was thinking about 88th Street, 205. And when I got off, I remember she thanked me, and I got in the car, and I'm like, that was interesting. It was a funny story. Like, I got laughs. It was interesting. Guys, I wish I could remember the story. And I enjoyed I was like, that was fucking great, you know, that I got to tell a story instead of going up there and just telling one-liners. And about a week later, I get a call from the Funny Bones. And they were trying to book me in a couple clubs. Like, they were like, what we're trying to do is get guys that don't sell out improvs and put them in Funny Bones. And I was like, that sounds great. But this brought me back to something that happened with Billy Gardell. I remember going to Burbank one day to a Starbucks to meet a guy to write. And as I was walking towards my car, there's a hamburger joint next to the Starbucks. It's a famous Mel's Burgers. And on Friday nights, that's where Jay Leno brings his cars, and a bunch of people bring their cars, like from the 50s, and they try to like do doo-wop and all this shit. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with this. I'm just explaining the restaurant to you motherfuckers. If you're ever in Burbank and you want to go, knock yourself out. But I saw Billy was sitting there by himself right before he got the show with the girl on CBS. It had to be maybe 3 months before he got this. This is a couple of years before that. And I saw him sitting there, and I went, Billy, what's going on? You know, I knew Billy from the comedy scene. And he goes, these fucking Funny Bones made me an offer. It's not even worth fucking doing when you think about it. You know, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. And I go, Billy, it's just an offer, blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't see Billy again, and God bless him. Months later, he got the show with Melissa or whatever her name is. I don't even know if that's her name. McCarthy, I don't know. And he became famous, Billy Gardell. But now I was on that end. I'll never forget that. When I was on the phone with the fucking Funny Bones, I was thinking about Billy years earlier.